Good evening and welcome on the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. First, the top stories in this newscast. We shall be taking you to the Douala 4 Council area to give you updates back there in a school where a teacher is being alleged of a rape of about 10 pupils. So back there in this newscast, we shall effectively receive a teacher who will tell us a lot more about the normal atmosphere expected in and out of a classroom. On the other side, we shall give you more updates at this concerning the state of school in Jombe, and we'll have a lot more which will beef up this newscast. Those were the top stories. Once again, welcome on the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe Television. We'll begin right away talking about schools, and we talk about the school atmosphere, the displacement of persons, first of all, which will be our first element in this newscast from the northwest and southwest regions, which are the troubled regions in Cameroon for the past months and years, has affected the financial status of most families in the country, notably internally displaced persons across the 10 regions of the country. Many heads of families in Douala, for instance, precisely in the Douala 4 subdivision, are unable to compete with, say, their children's school fees, causing many of them unable to sit in for upcoming examinations. We have details with Immaculate Fogwe in this write-up.
Recent figures published by the United Nations organization shows the number of internally displaced persons of the Anglophone crisis stands at 977,000. Many of these persons are hiding in bushes, refugee camps, and other safer areas. Most of the internally displaced are without proper shelter, food, clean water, and access to medical care. One of those areas harboring a great number of these displaced is Bonaberry in the Douala 4 subdivision. Many of them residing in the area say they are faced with financial challenges which make life difficult for them. The situation has caused many of the parents to be unable to register their children for the upcoming 2020 General Certificate of Education.
Regarding some of the challenges, we have been facing challenges like the internally displaced. We have so many internally displaced students in said college, and that is one of the problems that we are facing because they have problems with paying their registration, getting their registration fees, and also completing their fees.
The Dean of Studies equally explains that measures have been put in place to help some of these parents.
We have extended some time for those who are paying their fees so that at least they can register and then complete their fees later.
On the issue of accommodation, some of these students have been lost by the institution.
Some of them also have challenges of where they stay, and then the school have also created some lodging facilities for some of the internally displaced who really don't have a place to stay, and then some of them who come and cannot meet up with the fees, we also subsidize their fees by asking them to pay just part of the fees.
As days go by, the situation in the northwest and southwest regions pushes many out of bushes and safer regions. A situation which denizens say will not end unless the Anglophone crisis is resolved.
And we told you on the top stories that we'll be taking you to the Douala 4 Council area, and we stay there right away to talk about this incident of rape which occurred in a local school in the Douala 4 Council area, precisely within Ndobo. It occurred there while leaving about 10 pupils who have been raped by an alleged rapist, said to be a teacher back there. The said teacher has been dragged to the Bonaberry Gendarmerie Research Unit. Once again, we stay with you, Immaculate Fogwe, for more updates on the story.
Teacher of a primary school in Bonabome in the Douala 4 subdivision is presently behind bars for allegedly raping minors of his institution.
We have a class 6 teacher here. He came here, we thought he was a good person. But he came and he was taking the children in class very well. But he had to take extra classes. So during the extra classes, he took some of the girls into the class and he sent the boys away. Took the girls and abused the girls.
According to the headmistress, the teacher had been blackmailing the pupils so they could keep their mouths shut.
So as he told the girls to swear in the Bible that they should not tell anybody. If they tell anybody, they will die. The children did not tell anybody. But as I started having rumors, I went to that class. I told the children that if anybody touches you or if anything happens, come and tell me. 2 girls from that class came, they told me. And we started making investigation until we make sure that teacher goes to prison. And no other school, because we don't know this Cameroon today, we don't know. Maybe he will be there like that and then they'll try to remove him. But we'll make sure that no other school takes that teacher in the school.
One of the parents of the beginning.
One of the parents of the victims explains how her daughter was being abused by the teacher.
So I
am the mother of one of the children abused by the teacher. I am living in Bamenda and I came to Douala to celebrate Christmas with my family. While here, my daughter told me that her teacher abuses her in class. So, when I confronted the teacher, he asked me to calm down. I had to report him to the forces of law and order. Many schools in the Douala 1st subdivision are currently facing challenges due to the high influx of students and pupils from the northwest and southwest regions. According to them, special considerations have been given them.
The IDPs, those who are internally displaced, we've given them some special considerations. Those who are unable to pay their children fees, we register their students, their children without any problem, but with the condition that they will comply after the registration. Some who have come with partial payment, we do accept them on condition that they will respect their rendezvous and comply with their appointments. So with that, we have given them special considerations.
We have some of the IDPs here from Bamenda and Southwest. When they come here, we take them where they don't pay all their school fees. There are some that we have even given books to them, some that we have given shoes to them. And we tell the teachers to take care of them because some of them are very slow because they have been for a long time without going to school. And they are slow, so by the teachers, they are trying to do their best so that the children will pick up, will come out the same level with the other children.
School authorities are calling on the government to subsidize school fees for these internally displaced children so as to assure their education.
I will now take you over to the Mungo division, but we stay in the littoral region of the country where back the Government Technical College of Jombe and the Students Park, they are begging for practical tools to carry on with studies effectively in this locality of the country. We have details with you, Smart Chikan Gabriel.
Workshop for students to practice at the Government Technical College in Jombe is that of bricklaying, a situation that keeps the students uncomfortable. The difficulties we face is that we lack practical materials, working space. We even lack materials for connections. That the least mistake is electrocution. According to a teacher of Government Technical College in Jombe, other departments lack a working space in the institution, making the practicals very difficult.
C'est le seul atelier que vous voyez derrière moi.
This is the lone workshop we have that you see behind me, with 3 classes inside the workshop. The other sections, like electricity and sewing, don't even have workshops. They don't have tables to cut their materials.
Et on a un problème véritable pour les ateliers. Pas sur mesure, parce qu'elles ont besoin de faire des coupes. Elles n'ont pas de table.
Apart from the workshops that remain a major handicap to students of Government Technical College in Jombe, the lack of working materials alongside sitting benches in class is also very visible.
Dans notre salle de classe, nous avons problème des tables bancs.
In our classroom, we lack benches and the class is too small. We are forced to fold our sheet of papers when sitting on a bench as we walk.
Pour travailler, tu tournes la feuille par-ci par-là.
Notwithstanding the several difficulties faced by students, the principal of Government Technical School in Jombe believes a lot has changed since he took over office. It's not been very easy for me. I met a school with many problems. Lack of trust between the administration and teachers, administration and the PTA, and administration and even the students.
Un établissement agonisant.
The cry of the students is for government to equip their workshops and create additional workshops for them to enable them have enough practical time.
And more demands directed towards the presidency in Cameroon. We take you to the northwest region of the country, precisely to Bangui, where back the inhabitants are begging and calling on the government to address the situation which is plaguing the northwest and the southwest regions. For a couple of years in the country, though they received end-of-year gifts from the presidency, they say the gift could be of help, but the situation at hand is not helping them. We have details with our correspondent in the northwest region on Bangui and the presidential gifts. And rather on this technical switch back there, we rather had the image there of Paula Tanganji, Minister of Territorial Administration in Cameroon. We would recall that the Minister of Territorial Administration on his part was in the littoral region of the country today in Douala. He says the government is determined to meet internally displaced persons and refugees wherever they are with the help of the military. He was speaking while inspecting a humanitarian contingent donated by the People's Republic of China. And we'll come back on this report tomorrow or in a subsequent editions of the news on Equinoxe Television. And beside that, we told you we're taking you to the northwest region of the country with this element from our correspondent, Stella Mbu in Bangui precisely, who tells us that the people back there received end-of-year gifts from the president, but they say they are facing enormous hardship this recent months as the situation of the crisis persists. We have the report of Stella Mbu. And the report of Stella Mbu, which is yet to get to us, would definitely go on the sports page. Before we take our guest, back there, the Auxiliary Lions have intensified their preparations ahead of the African National Championships Shan tournament. The team had its first training session on Douala's Seoul this morning under the supervision, we'll recall, of the head coach, Yves Clément Arogo. Magic and Gabriel has updates on this.
It was total ecstasy for the Kenyan women's volleyball team. This was after the difficult victory over Cameroon as the qualifiers for the Olympic Games continue in Yaoundé. From the first set, Kenya sent warning signals to the volleyball lionesses as they had a smooth ride, committing few errors, winning the first set 25-16 with a difference of 9 points. Encouraged by the fans, Cameroon defeated Kenya in the second set, though a very difficult one, 25-23. In the third set, Kenya again took the advantage, beating Cameroon 25-21. But Cameroon brought things to equal as in the fourth round, they defeated Kenya 25-23 sets. With both teams neck to neck, it was during the tie break that Kenya defeated Cameroon. This angered the spectators who started leaving the pitch. Kenya won the tie break 15-11, implying 3-2. Both countries do have one match left in the ongoing tournament for Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, but Kenya is on a good footing as their last match will be against Nigeria.
A reporter rather of Smagic and Gabriel on the indomitable lionesses of volleyball, who have now limited chances for qualifying for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Up next, Talking Point. Welcome back, and right here with us, we told you on the start of the news that we're going to receive a teacher to talk about this a very critical issue which we observed in the Douala 4 Council area of a teacher there around Dobo, precisely, who raped close to 10 pupils, a primary school teacher. To talk about this, we receive right here a teacher in the person of Younger Awuntu Eric. Younger Awuntu Eric, good evening and welcome on Talking Point on Equinoxe Television.
Good evening, and thank you for this for the invitation to be here first time on Equinoxe.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. And first point and first things first, you're a teacher and you certainly watched this report. What's your take on it, your first impressions?
Well, when I got the report of that, to me, first thing, I thought it was a rumor, but I said, okay, but if it's a rumor and then people, you hear people singing it a little bit all over, and then I tried to find out from somebody who comes from that area, and he said it was true. And I said, wow, that must be very terrible to imagine a teacher doing that, because actually the role of a teacher is to give what is good. That's to say, to teach people to do what is good. So you can't be a teacher and then you're doing what is bad. So I really felt devastated, and I just tried to imagine how the children could possibly feel and how the parents too could probably take that shock.
Probably before getting on the rules of a teacher, what's expected of a teacher in and out of a classroom. And now we've realized that many people on the streets comment on this report and they say it's no news, because it's almost recurrent on this a liaison teachers always want to have with your pupils and your students, but it's a very critical because these are primary school pupils. Now, what's your take on it?
I think that sexual abuse, as a matter of fact, should not be justified, be it the act being perpetrated on an adult or a child or whosoever. But I think that if people say that to find it normal, then I think that there's a problem to think that something is normal.
Maybe normal because in Cameroon, the position of the teacher is now reversed. We have teachers who have become boyfriends. We have teachers who have become something else. Like we have this teacher pulling up pupils to a certain atmosphere, which is improper.
Well, I think to me, everything goes to question the reputation of the person. I've been teaching for close to 10 years today, and I've never really had the appetite for my female students, because it's all about your personal discipline. That, okay, if you start doing that, then actually you lose your focus, because you've got something to do, you've got something to attain, and if you take distractions and bring them into what you have to do, then I think that you're not serious on what you're doing. So I think that absolutely the position of a teacher, which is being sort of relegated to the background by some people who think that they are not valuable people, and a few black sheep who come into the field because they think that they're going to grab a few coins without being determined, without redefining the reason why they are there, then I think that these people come as mercenaries of evil, and not necessarily the people we are supposed to have in the society, giving to people the skills and the knowledge they definitely need.
Now, who is a teacher? Let's try to define a teacher.
First, who is a teacher? A teacher is a person whose job is to teach. To teach, so it could be very vast. When we say to teach, it means that you could teach people what you think is good for them, what they could use in their future, what is necessary for them. So if you look at teaching from the perspective of, for example, those Muslim clerics or maybe Christian or whatever, they teach people to acquire some spiritual skills, as a matter of fact. So if you come to our conventional, that's to say normal schools, where children have to go to classrooms, carry books and stuff, they are supposed to learn certain things which will enable them to live in a society, maybe to be able to have a job in the future, maybe to develop themselves and have some skills, and etc., which they could help the society or the environment with. I think that's fundamentally the primary or the main job of a teacher. That's to say, helping people acquire what is necessary for them to survive in every given society.
And what should be the effective role of a teacher even out of the classroom? Does it end only within the classroom, or it goes out of the classroom? What's the burden a teacher should carry vis-a-vis the pupils, the students?
In fact, I think that a teacher has a reflex, right? The reflex which shouldn't be limited. I'm going to tell you an example. I have my son in the house. He's barely 1 month, 2 year, 2 months old, and he's a brilliant little boy. One day he took a remote control as I was changing channels on television, yes, and he saw, cartoons do have many different colors which attract children. He saw it, and I saw that he was attracted to that. He was like, oh, I thought that he was interested in cartoons. So I pronounced the word cartoon, and he got the music. He said tattoo. Fine. So if I was supposed to think that I'm a teacher, my job is limited only in the classroom, and then my own child is out of that, cannot benefit from what I teach other children, then I think that I would be limiting myself. I wouldn't be, doing my job in and out of the society equitably.
Now, when we look at the situation which happened in Double precisely with those pupils who were abused by their teacher, at the long run, they would certainly have psychological effects. If you were to find, if you were to find yourself in a classroom where you have pupils who've been abused this way, and you have to reinsert them back into your lessons, and they still have these effects, how are you going to handle them?
Yes, of course. The trauma, the psychological impact might be very massive on these children, on all those who've suffered this sexual abuse. And it's going to take a tremendous work to do, to get them off this trauma. I think, in my perspective as a teacher, I'll first of all try to find out the background where this child comes from, and then to see how I could try to bring them back. But it's going to take a lot of time. That's what we call a Herculean task, as a matter of fact, helping a child come out of this psychological trauma of rape as a victim, because the child will actually, or the person, lives a life of a victim, lives a life of humiliation and disgrace and stuff. So what you have to do is that you're going to find the possible technique, because in our pedagogy, as a matter of fact, pedagogic techniques, we as teachers, we need to develop the best possible ways of helping people, no matter what, follow what we are teaching them. That's to say, people who've been victims of, wars and whatever.
Meaning, as a teacher, you're strategically a psychologist.
Yes.
Okay.
So you play the role of a psychologist, because what you teach people goes on into their minds, right? It goes into their minds. So you touch their minds. Mm-hmm. So if you're capable of touching people's minds through your lessons and stuff, so you are also capable of helping people whose minds have been damaged to a certain point, to make them come back, to the initial states where they were, before they were victims.
And in the case of those pupils, how do you regain your confidence back? Because what is certain is, these victims, they find themselves in the classroom, the movie would play back in your mind, in your subconscious minds.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's undeniable that these people, the scars will live for a very long time, and it's not like you will get them off in a single day. It takes a lot of time to. That's why they say a wound. It takes just a single second to get a wound, and then it takes a long time for the scar. For the wound to heal, and then the scars to go away. So what you have to do is that you have to bring them like your own child, and then tell them, make them feel confident in you. That's okay. You are sort of telling them now, okay, I understand what happened to you, but I'm going to try to make sure that you begin to forget what happened to you little by little, okay? By doing this, maybe you have some lessons of re-education, maybe you try to find out what these children are interested in, or this person is interested in, and then you try to encourage them to, to do more of these things. If it's a child who is interested in sports, maybe you could advise them, or maybe take them to sports centers where they do more of these sporting activities which they are interested in. And I think that the more they invest themselves in that, I think that these traumas will begin to disappear little by little, like scars.
And maybe the parents still have a role to play to align with the teachers to help the kids move out of this fear.
Yeah, actually, it's supposed to be a cooperation. That's to say, a collaboration between the parents and the teachers. That's to say, nobody is isolated in this process, because during the educational process, we have 3 people involved. We have the parents, the child, and the teacher. Everybody has a role to play. So nobody is supposed to be left out if a damage is supposed to be repaired,
Thank you so much, Younger Wuntu Eric, who is a teacher by profession. Thanks so much for accepting our invitation on Equinoxe Television.
You're welcome, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. That was Talking Point. Televiewers out there. Tomorrow we'll meet again, same time. It will be 6 p.m. Have a lovely stay in the company of our programs.